Hello and welcome back to For the Stands. I'm your host, Tommy Romano, and we are back for episode 2 on OTN. If you're checking us out, it's got to be on the app or it's got to be on TV. Welcome. We're so happy you're checking us out. Today I have a super special guest. He is my resident EDM boiler room friend. He's the one that I know always has the goods about the DJs and that type of love for that kind of music. I love it when that kind of music, EDM, dance, whatever you want to call it, collides with pop. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to welcome to our show, Casey Mariano. Welcome, Casey.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Tommy.
Thanks. I'm so excited to get into it.
Yeah.
Kind of the reason why I was thinking about all of this was just this past week and I guess past 2 weeks. If you're anywhere on TikTok, you know about Fred Again, the DJ, kind of blowing up and going crazy. He's been doing this rollout in New York with Skrillex and Fortet, who I wasn't too sure who that was. You'll have to be sure to inform the stands. But yeah. I thought that the way that they were marketing their music was so cool, and the fact that Skrillex dropped 2 albums in that same weekend
2
with
days.
Crazy features from Pink Panthers, Justin Bieber, Kid Cudi, Blade. I'm just going off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And it was really great music. It's kind of taking me back to when Calvin Harris would drop the songs with all of those great artists. And I feel like in a world where there's DJs like DJ Khaled who drop projects like that, and they're very kind of one note, and sometimes in a genre that I don't listen to that much. I love when it comes together with that pop and that house, and it makes something great. I think that happens with Calvin, and I think that happened this past week with Fred Again and Skrillex. I know you liked the album. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, I love the album. I love both albums, actually. Really, I think a lot of the electronic artists have this unique ability to produce music for other people and to be able to collaborate. You mentioned a lot of the collaborations on that album, and really the real genius I think that comes from this is being able to be that person that comes together and brings all these artists together and creates a unique and cohesive album.
Right. There's a level of curation there that really takes an expert eye. I think one of my favorite examples of that was Calvin Harris's 2017 Funk Wave Bounce Volume 1. That was a great summer album, and I feel like what made it so great is that the features felt so unexpected, but all worked so well together.
Yeah.
I never really would have put Young Thug and Ariana Grande on a song together with Pharrell singing in the background, but when he did it, it really worked. I loved that song. Heatstroke, it's called. I definitely recommend it, and especially that entire album. I am, a huge fan of the way that that's kind of going. And I feel correct me if I'm wrong, but there's kind of this new love, maybe in the past year or two, that people have found with house, EDM, and that kind of genre, especially with the Fred Again of it all. I mean, that show sold out in seconds in New York City.
Oh, yeah, immediately. Really, tech house music, techno. You're seeing it with, Beyonce and Drake both dropping electronic albums, both dropping house albums. It's really influencing a lot of the modern pop culture that we're having, and it's really been blowing up over the last few years. Yeah,
that's so true. I didn't even realize, I didn't even make the connection in my head, but Beyonce did drop a whole album with that love for house that we talked about last episode.
That's really infiltrating the top level.
It's coming to top tier Beyonce. And Drake, I really liked that album. I think that might be an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
But I loved Honestly Nevermind. The main producer was Drake's main guy, 40, who he's been making all of his albums with, along with Black Coffee, who's been really deep into that scene.
Huge tech house producer.
I really like watching his boiler room sets. That's kind of been my homework life hack. If you like fun music, the kind of stuff that we're talking about, I definitely recommend doing your homework to a boiler room set or two.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how you do them.
Check out that Fred Again boiler room set.
Yeah, the Fred Again. I mean, there was that viral iconic moment with the Fred Again set where it wasn't the guy dancing really hard and he accidentally turned off the music, and Fred Again queued it back up perfectly. Things like that is I really feel like that's like performance magic that
It really was. It almost felt like it was planned or something planned before, because that was him dropping the new song with Skrillex that he worked on as well, called I believe it's called Don't Leave Me. Don't Leave Me Like This. And that was really like an iconic moment, you know, showing that guy stopping the track, but then having him restart that. That was great. Unintentional marketing, but it worked out perfectly.
Yeah. And so much of what he does, like, if you're unfamiliar with Fred Again, audience, I think the pop stans would love him. He does like this really cool thing where he'll like take the vocals from one thing and make his own production. And when he makes his songs and releases them, they're all just names. And my favorite is the song called Tate. The pop stans would know. Tate McRae provides the vocals on that one. And he just finds really interesting ways to work in the music that he listens to, all like cross genre. Like there's like British rappers on the albums and pop singers. I think it's really cool. And he has his own sound with it all. Yeah. I like what he's bringing to the table.
Now, he's definitely bringing something really unique, where he's bringing a lot of samples from viral videos that show like real human emotions.
Yeah.
He's really putting that into his music and making music based on that. It's very human music. You know, his shows live, if you ever can catch Fred Again live, you have to see him live. It's a really unbelievable experience. It's really, he plays the videos that he samples in the background, so it's really just a very human experience about like really living in this specific moment. And he does that. His branding is just incredible. He does it so well.
Right. And part of why I was thinking about Fred Again too, I don't even know if you know this, is I had the chance, the stans know that I did an internship in New York this summer, so I got to immerse myself into the city, and part of that was seeing Swedish House Mafia and Fred Again play a little club, and I came as a casual listener of all of it, but my friend Juliet, who you know, brought me, and just seeing it was so cool.
He's been doing a lot of very small, intimate shows. I've seen him play in, I haven't seen him. I've seen videos of him playing in, you know, gastropubs in London. And, you know, he's really all about bringing big sounds to a small group of people. It's very, very human connection. That's really what he's driving at.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful.
And one thing I notice about, like, maybe the EDM electronic scene is they're not too shy to drop an album. As we see with Skrillex, like, he drops 2. Like, Flume, I feel like, dropped a couple albums in the past couple years.
Yeah.
And there's, like, they're really eager to get these mixes out. And when it's not mixes, it's, like, original, fully fledged albums. And I think that that's really cool in an age, especially in pop music, where it's a lot of hurry up and wait for different albums in different eras. I really like aspects of that from that EDM scene.
Yeah, Flume in specific, that album he just dropped was really it was a lot of his old tracks he's never released that you know, I think they went back as far as 2012, and he just wanted to put these songs out, so he created this album about all the songs he hasn't released yet, and he put it out. And,
that's,
you know,
so cool.
He's just able to put it out. It doesn't have to be, you know, anything super polished or anything perfect. It's just something he wants to put out, and, you know, the fans enjoy it.
Right. I think that pop artists could definitely take a note from that, drop their old demos, leaks, stuff that never got released.
Yeah.
I think that would be so cool. Another big way that I kind of had a moment where I was like, oh, EDM and this dance house music, it's really coming back, was the Super Bowl. Just a couple weeks ago with Rihanna, she did like 3 or 4 of her collaborations with Calvin Harris and other DJs, and songs from her album that was like really focused in that kind of sound.
She was
like,
really bringing back that mid-2010s electronic pop when it was really, really at its peak, in my opinion. Yeah,
I agree.
And she's playing even some modern remixes of her tracks as well.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool too. I saw the whole TikTok discourse where she did the Rude Boy remix that was made famous in a certain club scene that never really had like the light of day until it was embraced by artists like Rihanna, which I think was super cool.
Yeah, and she brought it to the biggest stage in the world.
Right,
really.
exactly. Yeah. I really loved her performance and that era of songs that came from it. I mean, I think We Found Love is a classic.
That era is just honestly my favorite era of pop music, just because of that strong electronic and pop collaboration.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing also from that 2010 2010s, early era that I'm thinking about right now is Skrillex. Picturing him now at his show in Madison Square Garden, to picturing him in 2010, 2011, 2012.
He's got a new look. He's
with
got
the chunky
beard.
glasses and this shaved head. We'll throw in a picture. I'll be sure to get that to you guys so you could see the old and the new Skrillex. But he definitely hit a glow up, and he's here. He dropped 2 like really great albums with popular artists, and I think he's here to stay. He just sold out Madison Square Garden. After a week's notice. I was really impressed by all of that. I think it's all super cool.
I think he's really solidified himself as a producer for pop music in general, and just artists just everywhere. The last few years, it's been 10 years since he's dropped his last album, and really in between that time, he's been doing a lot of pop collaborations. A lot of them that you didn't even know about. He has some with Ed Sheeran. He has a lot of top level pop artists are working with him, and these 2 albums are really just showcasing it. I think it's really solidified himself.
Right. Another thing that I love about that the community we're talking about, the electronic music community, is they're very eager to collaborate with not only pop artists, but Skrillex is teaming up with Fortet and Fred again now, and before his last big hits were with Diplo as Jack U. There was the song Where Are You Now That I Need You with Justin Bieber. That was a hit, I remember.
Massive.
And they helped out with his albums, and that was a big kind of moment again in the late 20 teens, I guess you could say. Where that music was again kind of peaking itself out. I can definitely see the next couple years where it only gets bigger. I mean, that new Pink Pantheress Ice Spice song, Boys a Liar Part 2.
Bringing some Jersey Club elements.
It's different. There's Jersey Club. Pink Pantheress herself has definitely been embraced by the electronic community, with Kate Trinata being one of her best friends in the industry. I'm really liking all of it with her, and that song too. I think it's a bop.
It's a great song. Yeah, I really think that the electronic music is bringing a lot of things to pop music that are just entirely unique. There's really an unlimited ceiling for electronic music as far as synthesizers and drum machines go, and samples and resampling, and really I think it's bringing a whole new element to pop music that's going to be very interesting to see how it rolls out for the next few years.
Yeah. We were talking about it in class today earlier, that when the synth was coming out, people were always saying that it was going to be the end of music as we know it, and it's the end of authenticity. But as we've clearly seen, the electronic and that whole scene has just, I think it's really outgrown those labels in music, and people in the know are kind of coming around on the fact that there's really a human element and a real heart to this kind of music.
It's really, I'm really happy to see it flourish and become embraced in the pop community.
Yeah. Something that you specialize in studying, I think I would say, is a rave scene in different cities and communities. And that's another thing that I feel really interested in, is the aspect of community in that type of music. Because pop music, we have stans. You guys have ravers. So there's a really interesting intersect there where these kids, I mean, you can explain it better than me, but they get these special outfits and they have all these different traditions with candy bracelets and group leaders and totem poles and a whole thing. My friend was telling me all about her time at a rave, and I was really interested in that whole experience.
Yeah, I think a big thing is just being able to express yourself in these raves. These are basically safe spaces. They're places for entire freedom of expression and really just enjoying music surrounded by other people who enjoy the same music.
Right. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Especially with those boiler room sets that we're kind of alluding to. They're like a series of electronic artists getting to do, I think, like a half hour to like an hour.
1 to 2. They go on for a long time.
Yeah, there's like a special event with these DJs, and we get to hear different mixes, up-to-date stuff, and sometimes unreleased music. I think it's a really cool series. They always get very well-known artists from there, and I one of my favorite Boiler Rooms are the ones that Kate Renata brings out.
Oh, yeah.
I think that he's just really gifted in that genre. He has like a whole control on what's coming out. Now I feel like a lot of it can be brought back to his last album and a lot of his music from before. I'm really interested in his career. He has so many great songs. Like 10% is the one that I would think about
good.
playing.
That whole album, Bubba.
Yeah,
right?
Bubba.
That whole Bubba album was so good. And he's another artist who I think has solidified himself really well as a producer, as an electronic producer making music for pop that a lot of people are really connecting with.
Mm-hmm. So my next question, there are, I'm sure, a lot of people like me who love the pop community and the stan community of it all, but may not be as well versed into the how stans. See, I don't even know what to call it properly.
Yeah.
That sector of music, and they're about to be. Maybe they just heard the new Skrillex album. Maybe they saw the videos of Fred again, and they want to get into it more. I think it's coming that there's going to be a new wave of fans coming in, as we've already seen. Do you have anything to say to like pop fans who are getting into it, stuff that they should check out, maybe different, like how to make yourself kind of know what you're talking about when you talk to this kind of music or on this community? Just let me know what you have to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of up and coming producers, particularly like the big producers that are producing tracks for pop artists. A lot of times you don't see their names written on the, credited. There are a lot of times just credited as a producer behind the scenes. I believe like Diplo, Skrillex is a name that not a lot of people are going to associate with pop music. They're associating it with old school dubstep, these loud, screechy basses, but really he's a great producer and he's proven himself, I think. Honestly, I would get to shows. I would go to shows. Just the live aspect of electronic music is, I think, is where it really flourishes. I think it offers a lot of opportunity for just really creativity. Seeing a lot of shows, they put on a lot of remixes of tracks.
Right.
So really, a lot of the things you're hearing live are things you've never heard before. And I think that's a really powerful tool to expose yourself to not only new music, but new artists and new genres.
Right. Something that's so cool about that is, like you were saying, like it could be a remix of something. You go to a concert and you might not get the same concert twice from a DJ. A lot of times that's probably the case.
Yeah. A lot of times artists don't want to play the music that you already know. They're really playing songs that are somewhat adjacent to that, something that's new and special, and a lot of unreleased music.
Yeah.
A lot of unreleased remixes, a lot of just really showcasing the creativity that a lot of the electronic artists are able to bring.
I think it's so cool. I mean, I think back to my first experience where I really noticed that there was going to be a boom in this, and this is like 2010s when I was a kid. I feel like it was a song, Ariana Grande and Zedd, Break Free, was the song where I really was like, oh my gosh, who is Zedd? There's not a guy singing on this song. And then I had to look it up and be like, oh, he is the DJ. He produced it and he is part of the sound and he was in the music video. I thought and that was really my there's this whole other world of music that I haven't gotten into yet.
Yeah, I think around the same time Kygo got, maybe a little later, Kygo also got massive doing that as well. He also broke very, very strongly into the pop scene.
Right. And when it comes to that, as a true fan of this genre, is there a certain opinion or maybe stereotype about a DJ or maybe a group what's coming to mind is Kygo or the Chainsmokers that really do lean into the pop world and charting and doing all that, Marshmello, kind of leaning into the commercial aspect of it all? Is there maybe even a negative kind of light cast on them in that community?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times when people think EDM, when people hear the term EDM, they're a lot of times thinking of the mid 2010s big room house, Martin Garrix.
Right.
That was a pop hit, that Martin Garrix song, but a lot of people don't see the subtleties, I think, that a lot of electronic artists are bringing. It's not a full electronic song that's being played on, radio, but it's just incorporating small elements into it, which ultimately elevates the final production.
Yeah, I totally agree. That is, I feel like it's come such a long way, and it's only gonna go further.
Yeah.
I've been in such a Fred Again kick. Do you have like a favorite song of Fred Again, or like something that you're kind of into? I said my favorite before. It was Tate.
Oh, yeah.
I also love Clara, if we're counting.
Yeah.
But now do yours.
I really like Danielle. I think that was a really good one.
Yeah.
And the beat's getting faster. Like it's just really a really beautiful song. Really, his all of his actual life albums are just really good. They're all very cohesive as well, and they're very human. It's Actual Life 3, and then he has, I don't remember the date specifically, but it has dates of when this album was written, and it's a very human album.
Yeah, I love that aspect of humanness, and almost there's also like an aspect of storytelling. I feel like with artists that I've seen adjacently, like San Holo or Porter Robinson, they're really into that kind of world building, which I think is another aspect that kind of melds the worlds of pop and EDM, because that's a lot of what pop is. Pop is world building. Lady Gaga builds a world with every album. I feel like they kind of complement each other, and Lady Gaga works a lot with Blood Pop and other big people in that space as well. A.G. Cook, big DJs. And yeah, I always really liked that.
Yeah,
they had the marriage between pop and EDM.
Yeah, I think even generally, I think that electronic artists live with technology a lot more than I think a lot of people do, and they're able to create worlds through graphic design.
Right.
There's a lot of crossover with graphic design, video games, 3D animation and things like that. So that ultimately creates a very specific lane that a lot of electronic artists go down.
Yeah.
And it's really incredible to see what they're coming up with.
Yeah, you kind of brushed on this just now. I feel like this next gen of the music, people are saying it's going to be in this metaverse Web3, insert buzzword here, and DJs a lot of time are coming at the forefront of that and being the first ones to work in a lot of these kind of technological ways. Can you talk about the relationship you talked about between technology and that genre?
Yeah, I think ultimately electronic music is working directly with technology. It's not working with a guitar that was invented thousands of years ago. It's working with digital software that was created maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe probably even less. And really, it kind of forces people to have to stay up to date with technology. And, since you're already immersed in that technology, you're going to be more interested in seeing the new technology and embracing that. So I think that's one thing that electronic music does very well, is embracing new technologies. It's a very technologically driven genre at its core.
I agree. What's the most technological thing you've done for maybe a DJ that you've liked? And the reason I bring this up is because I set up a Fortnite account to watch the Travis Scott Fortnite concert, and that was very metaverse of me. I felt very futuristic while doing that. So I was wondering if you had a story where you did something similar for an artist. No, not really. Maybe I'm just the crazy one with the Fortnite dances.
I've seen a lot of, Marshmello was one of the first ones to do a Fortnite concert.
Yeah.
He's, he was the first mover on metaverse concerts. And I've seen a lot of DJs really want to incorporate immersive video elements into their productions as well.
Exactly.
So really showing a story. They're creating a story not only sonically but also visually, and that's bringing that to their live shows and having that perform and having yourself be entirely surrounded by the graphics that the artist has created for you to listen to, for you to contextualize the music for. It's really powerful. I mean, it's really immersive. It's really unworldly. It's otherworldly. It's incredible.
I agree, man. I think it's so cool. It's such a huge thing that's coming, and for you, it's already here, and you're like hip to it. But I feel like for people like me, people that are fans of like bigger things, I think it's going to become a bigger part of our zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And I think we're wrapping up on time here, but I think I want to leave us with this. I want to know, what is your favorite? It could be a song, could be an album. What's your favorite blend when it comes to EDM and pop? What comes to mind?
Yeah. R.L. Grimes' Nova, which features I'm Feeling It with Daya, several other very pop-oriented songs. It leans into like hip-hop drums and pop music and melodic super saws, and it's just a really beautiful album.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure everyone check that out.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to make sure to listen to that this week. That's really cool. I love that, and I've definitely heard that name before.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. Casey, believe it or not, we're already at time, but this has been such a blast. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Let the people know if you have anything to plug. If you don't, tell them goodbye.
No,
tell them, you know.
Yeah. Tommy, it was great. Thanks for having me.
Great. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming in and doing this. You can catch us always on OTN, on the app, doing however you do that, on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV. Pick your poison. I'm always here. You'll catch us very soon. Thank you, Casey, so much for coming on. But this is For the Stance. I'm your host, Tommy Romano, and I am signing off. And let's play us off with a Fred Again song. Let's pick a Fred Again song to play us off with.
I got to go with Danielle.
All right, let's hear it. Here's Danielle.
Sometimes I want to feel the pain.